never forget my first visit to India, and I was at Connaught Place, and I was standing waiting for the traffic to stop, because I wasn't smart enough to know that the traffic never stops at Connaught Place. And a little guy, probably as old then as I am now, and a little bit shorter than you, came up to me, and he's wearing a dhoti, and he looked up at me, and he said, and I'm not making this up, he said, "Sir, you must have lived a terrible life in the past to be so afflicted in the present." As you can imagine, after I finished picking my jaw up off the floor,
So shocking.
I just looked at him and he looked at me, and the cars kept coming and he's looking at me. And, you know, I didn't mean to be disrespectful, but enough time passed, so I gathered my wits and I said to him, "You don't understand, sir. I'm on my way up. In my last life, I was a roach." Now, 40 years later, I'm embarrassed that I said that. The other thing is I got to thinking about how we're different in my country and in this country. People with disabilities in the U.S. have come to rely on mechanical devices. You know,
Such as?
my crutches, my caliper, people that use mechanized wheelchairs. People here rely on people.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, my favorite example, I was visiting a school in Mumbai, and there's a sign with the handicap accessibility,
Yeah.
and it's right next to this huge flight of stairs. And they were marble stairs, and it was raining. So I figured, all right, this is somebody's idea of a joke. And I climbed up the marble stairs and hit the water on top of the marble and just went flying.
Oh my God.
I wasn't hurt. My dignity was hurt. But students came up to me and said, "Sir, we were just coming to carry you up the stairs." And I thought, wow, this wouldn't have been acceptable in the U.S. People would have been saying, well, my dignity is offended. I should be able to do everything myself.
Yes.
But here are people who didn't know me. At places like the Taj Mahal,
All right.
which caters to a wide variety of people with different abilities and from different countries, what happens if you can't take your shoes off? They issue you soft slippers to put over your
That's
shoes.
nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
works. At the Golden Temple, where I was a guest of the community, a Punjabi armed policeman picked me up and literally put me on his back and took me around the temple, so I was able to join people in the reading of the Granth.
Okay.
Again, very people-oriented. But there are some temples here, even today, where if you can't remove your shoes, you can't participate.
Right.
Some of these are roadside little places. There are some places on the east coast of India where it extends beyond disability. If you're not a Hindu, you can't even go in to visit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I find people here are very warm. And while accommodations mean different things here, they try to accommodate. That doesn't mean things can't be better and they shouldn't be better. Because I do believe that everybody with a disability deserves to be as independent as they can be and as they want to be. People with disabilities in India, I've come to know, especially from being here, Satya Paul had a disability and still managed to participate in the freedom fight.
Oh, he did? Yeah.
So, obviously he was a person with very great willpower, but he was the exception, not the rule. When the civil rights movement for the disabled started in the U.S., our law enforcement officials were frankly flabbergasted. What do you do with disabled people who've chained themselves to the wheels of buses?
Oh, God.
Well, you have to unchain them, but then you have to figure out how do you pick these people up in their wheelchairs? How do you put them in a jail which is not accessible. And so all these issues got a lot of publicity, and they all contributed to the fact that in 1990, President Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act.